Welcome. I'm super excited to be here in the studio today. As some of you know, this was my original idea when I first signed up with M&N. But the Lemonade Stand became a podcast via Zoom due to the pandemic. So let me back up a bit and tell you the timeline of how we got here, me hosting the show, and also why our guest is here. I'm a part-time background actress and also work part-time at CUNY SPS as a media tech assistant. And my manager, Matt, there encouraged me to take classes at M&N. So soon enough, I signed up for classes, and I was so intrigued by everything it entailed. Being in front of the camera, behind the camera, and also working in the control room. I was ready to get my hands dirty and just learn. I obtained my producer certificate at the end of February 2020, right when the pandemic started. And as we all know, the world stood still for a while. I decided to carry on with the Lemonade Stand and just have guests on via Zoom meetups. I found a really great platform to showcase my podcast. Most of my show's topics did revolve around the pandemic. But now that we're in person, I'm trying to steer in a little different direction. As the restrictions for COVID started lifting, more acting gigs fell onto my lap, and then I found myself on the set of The Time Traveler's Wife, where I met Jana. That was so much fun working on that set. I met so many great people, and of course, our guest today as well. So when you walk onto set, you really don't know what's going to happen until the director tells you, or a director's assistant places you in the scene. I was bumped up to SAG and placed to sit next to Jana, as you saw in the clip. We're biker chicks. And I'll never forget what she said to me. "You're golden." At first, I wasn't sure what she meant, being new to the industry and all. But soon enough, I knew what she meant. Being recognized by the director will definitely take you places, and it certainly has. She basically took me under her wing and gave me guidance about the industry, the terms, the slangs, and overall advice about do's and don'ts. We continued to be friends long after the scene was wrapped. And without further ado, I present to you my first guest on our live show, Emmy Award-winning Jana DeHart. Welcome. Welcome, Jana. I'm so glad you're here.
Sharon, your intro made me want to cry. You're very kind.
Well,
thank you.
You have been kind to me, so thank you for being our first guest on the show also. So for everyone out there watching, let's find out a little bit about Jana. Tell us what makes you tick.
So fascinating. I'm originally from Texas, and I moved to New York to go to college, and I ended up staying. Growing up, I was always fascinated with the arts and did a lot of arts programs, children's theater, ended up going to an arts high school. I'm old enough to be part of desegregation in Dallas, Texas, which for Dallas, not shocking. And then ended up having some family problem. My mother passed away, and family problem. My mom passed away. And I ended up thinking, well, theater probably is not the best thing to pursue at this point. But I knew that if I loved television. I was a latchkey kid growing up, and I always thought, well, I'll go work in television. So I studied TV and film.
Nice.
In New York, and ended up working in the business as kind of working my way up, PA, associate coordinator, production manager, working in TV, movies, commercials, music videos.
Wow.
And then became a full-time producer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it was great. It was great experience, and I absolutely loved doing it. So it's
great. Fun. I know you won the award for it was a children's news program. Is that correct?
No, I won, and it's a regional Emmy. I don't want to mislead anyone. It is a regional Emmy, but it's a regional Emmy for New York and Connecticut and East Coast. So that's much, to me, like I feel like, oh well, that's a little bit more than like Ohio. Not that this Ohio or anything, but it was for Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh wow!
About there was a team of the Harlem Globetrotters back in the 50s that they tried to unionize the team because basically it wasn't an integrated NBA before.
Oh, okay.
So they wanted to unionize and then join the NBA, and basically the guy who owned the Globetrotters tore up that contract and fired them all.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So it was about kind of Jim Crow and some of the original Globetrotters were in this group. So.
Wow, and I remember them playing. I never went to any of their games, but I do remember the Globetrotters, and they're still happening.
Yeah, they were. When I was a kid, they had their own cartoon and everything, so it was a big deal to go see them. And to me, to get to know those guys, it was a real honor.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then we won the Emmy Award for it. Nice. I was like, yes, because we were
cool.
like kind of on a small network that won it. And when we did win, kind of beating all the other New York's networks, we were like, yes.
That's
right?
impressive. I love it. And so I also wanted to, ask you about, since you've been in the industry for a while now, and how has production changed, like during the pandemic, and how is it now? We're still in the pandemic. I mean, when it first happened, of course, and then of course, like now with some of the restrictions lifted, but it looks like we're going back, kind of backwards again. But yes, please speak on that.
Okay. Well, it changed kind of like it changed for everyone. Every business changed in that way. Now you have to do COVID testing before you go on set. Sometimes 2 days before, and then another one right before, and then sometimes day of on set. I ended up working on a show and tested positive for COVID, and they were like immediately on the phone with me, like, well, you tested positive, so don't come in. Whatever you do. And then also, we're kind of missing a part. Do you want me to talk about background work too?
Or? Oh yes, please.
Yes.
Do.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, in background work, that really changed too, because prior to COVID, there would be 300 people just rammed in a room together. And it would be, serve yourself buffet, and it would be go to craft service and pick whatever you want. And that all changed. Now food is either in containers and given to you for your meals, or someone serving you the food. You have to go to a truck now, or someone that will hand whatever you point at for craft services. So that all went south. But it's good. The scariest thing about the pandemic, I think, or the funny, weird thing, I guess, is when you think about it. Like, how dirty was everything before? Like, right? Like,
especially riding the subways. Oh my goodness!
Everything like filthy.
Yes, I know. Like now they started cleaning the subways. Like really, okay.
When the first show I worked back from the pandemic was Succession, and for those COVID tests, you could take a cab or a private car to the COVID test, and a cab or a private car back, because they didn't want you getting sick.
That's really nice luxury.
On public transportation.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. That is a nice luxury.
That has changed.
I'm sure it has.
It's gone away.
There's some pluses and minuses with the, with the whole pandemic. But so I also wanted to ask you too about advice for newcomers. So people just starting out in the industry, trying to get their feet wet. What's the best advice? Like, do you think they should go the route of school and just learn that way, or sometimes is it better to just go out and say, hey, I can do this, and then learn a skill and then jump on board with that as well? I don't know. What do you think is the best? I mean, obviously it's different for everyone. This is very true, but maybe when you started out, what are things you learned then?
So for acting, it's good to get your feet wet with some kind of lessons. Since I had studied as a child and then did theater in high school and had worked on some TV shows in high school, I kind of had the feel of it. And then when I did production for all those years, I kind of understood. Well, I directed people, so I knew kind of, I remembered all those things when I started acting. Like, what would I tell myself if I was directing me?
Right.
And when I started to do background work, I went and took improv classes, because I thought, oh, well, I can, that'll just kind of help me rekindle what I knew about acting. And that was very helpful. So just if you've never had any acting experience, it's good to take a class. I highly recommend that. And if you're a dedicated, if your dream and you're a kid and you're younger or want to switch careers, I would definitely recommend taking classes because you're going to be around a lot of people that are dedicated and know their stuff. So you don't want to just end up like,
and you want to be good at your craft.
And you want to be good at your craft. And getting your feet wet and acting. If you're doing classes and then you want to get your feet wet in real, have real experience, background work is awesome because background work is like I've said to you, it's like you're getting a master class in acting and you can be this close to Russell Crowe and watch him do scene and take after take after take and see how things change, what the director says to him, and you're getting to witness all this. So it's like being almost in it's like a Broadway show just in front of you.
I hear you.
Right?
Like you said, getting a master class, you're learning and you're learning on your feet almost too because you're seeing the direction that the director is giving the actor and you can pick up on these things as well. And I hear you about getting your feet wet. I have done so many types of background work now. I'm like I guess you could say character actor type now. Since Time Traveler's Wife, and it's been a really good ride and it continues. So can I ask, where did you go for your improv classes?
Upright Citizens Brigade.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it was great.
Cool.
They closed the big studio where they used to have all the classes. That kind of went away, but it was great training with some really great people who I kind of have remained friends with past that too. So that's always nice, and that's nice about background acting too. You meet the most amazing people.
I was just about to say
not to blow smoke up here. You know what?
What am I, chopped liver? No.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean,
but exactly, you meet in places. You never would meet these people otherwise if you were in any other circumstance, right?
Yes.
And that's what's great about it too. All these new connections, new friendships, and you learn. I mean, there's always a takeaway. Like my husband was telling me, you should write a gig book. He's a musician, and sometimes he writes down in his journal about his gigs. And I was like, I should write about my gigs too because you meet so many interesting people. Like you said, there's so many takeaways. It's just lessons. It's a memoir anyway too. It's just like, it's a nice reflection to go back and look at and say, wow, I've come this far also. So it's really good. So we have a little segment called Our Final Thoughts on the Show. But before we get to that, we're going to also cut to a clip where we do a lemon recipe.
Hello, I'm Paula Morgan. And today I'll be making a Victorian lemon tea cake. So the recipe is just a little bit different than a normal cake recipe. It has butter and confectioner sugar that you cream together with some lemon zest. And after you've got that all creamed up, you add 3 eggs one at a time and you let that beat up. And then you add 2.5 cups of flour, a tablespoon of baking powder that's been mixed up together with a pinch of salt. And you alternate that with heavy whipping cream. Instead of using regular hazelnut, this one uses heavy cream. I think that adds another layer of fat, which will help with the texture of this cake, but I haven't tasted this cake yet, so I'm really intrigued myself to see what it's going to turn out. And the 2 other important ingredients, candied lemon zest and walnuts. The walnuts are toasted, and when you toast nuts, it actually brings out the flavor of the nuts. And funny thing is, I didn't have any lemon zest on hand. I'm sorry, candied lemon zest on hand. So I thought, I can make this. I can make my own lemon zest. So I Googled the recipe, and I found it how to make candied lemon. Super easy. So I had to peel 3 lemons to get the amount that I need for this recipe. Cooked it with cook the rinds a couple of times. You have to cook it, drain the water out, cook it again, drain the water out to get the bitterness out. And then you just cook it down at the ends with more water and sugar. I made it a day ahead of time. You have to let it air dry, and then I cut the lemon pieces into, chop them up, chop my nuts up, and then I added those at the end of the recipe. Also, the recipe it calls for a loaf pan, that's lined with buttered parchment paper. So I've got that here, and I've got my, I don't know if you can see the batter, but there's the batter in the cake that's already done. And I'm gonna put this in the oven at 350 for about 35 minutes. And then when it's done, I'll bring it out and we'll do a taste testing. Hello, I'm back and I've got the finished product. I'm gonna pick it up here. There it is. I'm gonna break it in half and see what the texture is. Breaks nicely, doesn't fall apart. Okay, now for the true test. It's like a kind of like a pound cake texture. It's really nice. It's moist. Has nice flavor. I can taste the lemon. I think this is a keeper recipe. Thanks Sharon and Jocko for sharing this delicious recipe with me.
Final thoughts here. So, Lemonade Stand is all about bringing awareness. It's the Lemonade Stand, bringing awareness to things that we discuss. So besides the topic today rather was about acting and going through the experiences through the pandemic as well. And I just wanted to ask you rather, what are your final thoughts today? What do you want to share with everyone? And also what you want to bring awareness to as well.
Well, I would say that in my experience of kind of transitioning, as I've grown older and transitioning from being a television producer, having worked my way up and met and experienced some amazing things, don't ever let the dream of what you wanted to do but to begin with die. There's always an opportunity to do the thing that you always wanted to do, and that's the great thing about getting older. I don't know if people ever talk about that, because people just think your body degrades and your mind goes away and oh my God, I'm an old person now. But it's not. It's like a second chance. Your priorities completely shift from competing with people. That was another thing I said to you when we first met. I was like, you and I are not competing at all. We are completely two different types. Right. So whatever job you get, God bless you, you know, and I'm glad there's someone to fill that role. Whatever job I get, I'm a completely different looking person. I'm gonna get that job. And it's not because you're less talented or I'm less talented. Right. It's just the right person for the right part.
Exactly.
So just always try new things, be flexible. Don't just think you're one thing. You can be anything you want to be. You just have to put the work in.
That's great advice. Thank you. Thank you again for being on the show today.
Thank you, Sharon. Can't wait to try that lemon recipe.
You'll get some, don't worry. I just want to give a big shout out to our crew today for everyone helping out. I couldn't do this without you, so thank you so much. And we always like to leave the show on a positive note. So, excuse me, but I'm going to sing a little bit and say, if you're feeling down or things are not really going the way you want, just remember, ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. With that said, have a blessed day, everyone. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Parvati, and today is supposed to be my wedding day. But I'm not very happy. I don't even know the groom, let alone myself. Sorry, Mama. Sorry, Papa. But I must take this journey to find me.
Welcome to New York City. Your baggage claim is gate 15.
New York has really been an adventure. I filmed a television commercial, but I couldn't even tell what they were selling. My agent also got me on a game show. I even did some modeling. Although New York has been great, I feel lonely in such a crowded city. Surrounded by a sea of faces, all searching for the same thing. How I do miss my family. Barbie, you have your father and me very worried about you. Why did you run away? Mama, I came to America to find myself. I don't want to marry a man I never even met. How does one lose oneself? You are always where you are. Anyway, you met him. When you were very little, we visited his family once before we moved to the coast. But you don't remember, Barbie. Ganesh was smitten with you. It was adorable.
So it's settled then. Ganesh and Parvati will marry when he finishes pre-medical school.
He really insists on being a doctor.
Don't try to talk that boy out of anything.
I don't remember that. But I'm living a new life here now. But Barbie! I'm sorry, Mama. I need to follow my dream here. Please understand. I'm working tomorrow. It's my first day on the television set. And I can't wait. A new journey begins.
Welcome to the Dating Show. Hello, America. Welcome to the Dating Show, the show where three lucky bachelors will try to win the heart of today's special guest contestant, America's hottest new model, Barbie. Hello. Tell us about yourself, Barbie.
Hello, everyone. And nice to meet you, Captain. I was born in the north of India, and both of my agent didn't tell me it was a dating show. The truth is, I was not even considering a relationship. I am enjoying the idea of being with myself, but I decided to play along and see what would happen.
That's great, Barbie. Barbie, we'll be right back and meet our bachelors, but first a word from our sponsor.
Oh, hello. Welcome to the lab, where we perform many scary and methodical tests. In my laboratory, I have scientifically confirmed, without a doubt, that Auntie's hot sauce is the hottest hot sauce known to mankind. Just ask my burning tongue. Furthermore, we have discovered that it is not available in stores. If you want Auntie's hot sauce, go visit your auntie. I mean, don't go now. Wait till the end of your regularly scheduled program. Auntie's hot sauce.
Welcome back to the Dating Show. It's time to meet our three eligible bachelors.
Contestant number 1. I love fine food and adventure. Where do you think we should go on our first date?
Hi, Barbie. I take you to my favorite restaurant in Paris, France, for a quick bite by the Seine. Then we go to a little place I know in Bavaria where they have the most delicious chocolate cakes for dessert, followed by a tour of the 7 wonders of the world. And then we could have a nightcap while we look at the Aurora Borealis. And I'd have you home by 9.
That sounds like a great evening. Hello, contestant number 2. I would ask you the same question.
I would take you back to my lair for a meal delivered by Uber and show you my etchings.
I really could not find a good reason to date any of these men. But I chose the doctor in case my mother happened to see the show. Unfortunately, I found the doctor to be too handsy. My friends tried to cheer me up by inviting me to a nightclub.
Hey, how's it going? Your hair looks great. Where's Barbie? Oh, she's on her way. Let's go inside.
Hello, Whoa, it's you, Barbie. Wow. How do you do?
Nice to meet you, Professor.
I'm sorry, but despite your overwhelming beauty, I can't let you into the club, as we are at the safety capacity for the venue.
My friends are inside waiting for me. How long will I have to wait?
You're not gonna make us wait to get in, right, Frank?
You are correct, Mr. Tooth. See y'all when you get out.
Thank you very much for getting me inside. But I'm really here to visit with my friends.
You wouldn't begrudge me one dance, would you? You spilled my drink!
I quickly realized that I should not be dating. I should be enjoying my own company for as long as I need to. Those dating scenes would have to continue without me. If there is anyone out there for me, they will have to find me in New York.
Some people are so rude!
Calm down, relax. Let me buy you another drink. It's all right, man. We're all just here to have a good time. Let's just do that.
Don't tell me what to do!
Oh man, let's get out of here, Ken. Yeah, let's go.